All right, so again, you can chat in the window to make comments, type the questions, and then we'll answer them in that window. And Fred is going to be helping to kind of capture a few things as well. So you can engage with us by the emoticon, and then at the end, we hope to have a little bit of time to engage with you, and so you can raise your hand and then participate through your computer or your phone. So the objective for today's workshop is to talk about the toolkits. I understand that you all have received the toolkits and you will be receiving them soon. And ultimately the goal of today is to help you understand that STEM careers are in demand and that there are incredible opportunities available for every student. And so the goal is to empower you to effectively communicate to your students the breadth of opportunities and pathways in STEM careers, particularly using the toolkit that we've created. I want to give you just a little bit of background about the STEM Career Toolkit, where it came from, and kind of why we created it. So as I mentioned, I've been working with NAPE for or been working on this curriculum for the last 5 years, and we started working with counselors, and I would talk to them about what is engineering, what are STEM careers, and as an engineer, I was really excited to share about how fantastic this was a career for me and for my colleagues as well. And I would give them these great messaging, and at the end they would say, okay, what do you want us to do with this? And I was like, well, didn't I just, like tell you all about it? But what I didn't realize is that you as counselors and administrators are incredibly busy, and that we need to help you have tools to address the needs specifically in your classrooms. And so the toolkit is a direct application of working with counselors. So first of all, this is built on the preface that counselors and educators make a difference. We believe that the influence that you have on students' lives is incredible, that the amount of time that you get to spend with them and influence them in their career awareness and their choices is valuable. And so that's really the cornerstone of the belief of this toolkit. The second premise of this is that STEM professionals are in demand, and we'll talk really briefly about the demand for STEM professionals. I imagine that you are already somewhat aware of that, but knowing that STEM professionals are in demand, we wanted to create a toolkit for counselors and educators to be able to address those needs with their students. The third thing is that women, blacks, and Hispanics are significantly underrepresented in most STEM disciplines. Particularly, women are most underrepresented in engineering, in physics, and in computer science. So I want to pause just a minute. Somebody has their microphone open and they have a loud keyboard.
Yes.
Okay. We can mute that.
Greg, do we have all the mics muted?
Yeah, we should. It could be me. I thought I was muted. Let me do it the other way.
I don't think you are. Thank you. Okay, Megan, you're on.
Okay. Continuing on, the fourth thing that's really important here is that we believe STEM professionals make a world of difference and help shape our future. And we're going to talk a little bit about that and the influence that STEM professionals and STEM careers have on our world. And finally, we know that the research shows that focused intervention efforts that target underrepresented groups make a difference. And so the tools that you have in the toolkit, they are designed to address the needs of these underrepresented groups. And so let me tell you a little bit about the toolkit. So the toolkit consists of a variety of things. The first thing that you have is the Exploring the STEM Careers booklet. And that is a booklet that basically covers a lot of the information that we're going to just kind of skim over today. And it's in a nice booklet. I don't know if you can still see my image or not, but I'm kind of flipping through it here. But and it talks about the different key points that we're going to highlight today just briefly. And it kind of helps frame a lot of the activities. And in the back of the toolkit are lesson plans and activities. And there are currently 4 lesson plans and activities. And over the course of time, we'll work on developing more. And we're going to just briefly review each of these. And so one of the things that we've developed over time is that activities alone weren't enough. And so we created the lesson plans to help you do this with your students. And it gives you discussion points. It gives you instruction on how to facilitate some of these conversations and these activities. And we're going to look through those today. The other parts that are in the toolkit are Kudos Cards. And these are cute little cards, and they come in a little desktop stand. And there are 5 different cards, and we'll talk about those a little bit at the end of today's time. And then there's one more portion of this, and it's a web resource. And we're currently working on developing this further, but it's particularly for students. And we have another little card called STEM Careers, and it's a little checklist for students that you can give to them and send them to the STEM Careers website that NAPE has within our own site. That just basically sends them to a lot of great resources on exploring STEM careers. And so those are the different pieces of the toolkit, and we're going to talk through those today. If you do need more information on the toolkit, you can download, order, or learn more about the toolkit at napeequity.org/counselors. What I'd like to do is I'd like to make this time a little bit interactive, so and to do some of the activities, even though very, very briefly. So I'm going to switch back to the Adobe Connect here. And so the question I have for you, I'm going to open up a poll here, is I want you to create a list of all the items you've used today that have been engineered. So I want to give you about 30 seconds and just start typing all the different things that you've used today that have been engineered. Okay, so ready, set, go. Looks like we're getting computer, toothbrush, cell phone, highway bridges, your car, a couple of hair dryer, blow dryers, computers, hair products. Toothbrush, right? We're not having to use sticks anymore. Well, I never had to use sticks, just so you know, but I've heard stories. Let's see, glasses, washing machine. Somebody was doing laundry this morning, it looks like. All right. Coffee pot, yes, very important. All right, well, thank you so much. These are great examples. So now I have one more challenge for you. Someone mowed the lawn this morning. That's really impressive. Okay, I'm going to end this poll. These are excellent things that you've used today that have been engineered. So now I want to ask you one more question. And the question is, can you identify one thing that you've used today that has not been engineered? Someone says your purse, your brain, your hands. Okay. So you'll notice if you have a toolkit, there is a lesson plan on this activity called the Name One Thing. So I'm going to, let's see, you've got a couple of different answers here. So you're saying water, not the system that it comes through. Well, so if we think about water, we can't access water without the system through which it comes through, and it's certainly been filtered and cleaned so that the water is usable for us, unless you guys live in the woods and you're just drinking out of the river, which if you do, then kudos to you. Our purse, I just bought a new purse yesterday, and it is highly engineered with material that's like antimicrobial, and it's great for traveling. It's been engineered in an incredible way, certainly manufactured so that I could have that, and it wouldn't, if not for the manufacturing machines, that wouldn't exist. I hate to break it to you, but on apples, your apples have been engineered. They have been engineered in a way to most likely, well, the seeds and how the seeds got in the ground, they were probably through machines. They were probably fertilized and irrigated through different kinds of machinery. So you can see that there are different examples. Our brain, so perhaps maybe your brain has not been specifically engineered, but we do know that we can engineer different components to help people's brains function better. There are devices that we can put in people's brains to keep them from having epileptic seizures, epileptic seizures. Air, if we think about our air is certainly conditioned. So I'm going to end this poll here, but the point of the matter is that for the most part, everything that we use and everything that we touch has been engineered. And this is a really incredible way to kind of open our eyes and understand that engineering is all around us. And particularly for our students, engineering is one of the most difficult careers to understand because it's not very tangible. It's not something that they've seen on TV. It's not a doctor that they've gone to throughout their life. It's not a firefighter. There's no uniform that we as engineers wear. But engineering is all around us, and everything that we do has been influenced by an engineer. We can, if we look at the roads that we drive on, if we think about the mattresses that we sleep on, even down to the most simplest office products like push pins and thumbtacks, those have been engineered. Everything that we use to some degree has been engineered, and we can talk about that with our students as well. And so the lesson plan that's in the toolkit, it does give a few of these different examples. I think AR is included in the brain and kind of how to break down and help your students understand the influence of engineering on those different components. Thank you all for participating in these two chats, or these two. Okay, so let's see. Let's go back to this. So we titled this presentation STEM for All and All for STEM. And what that means to us are a couple of things. Based on the research, we understand that generally people have a poor understanding of what engineering is, what STEM careers are, and what STEM professionals do. And so it's really important that we use the most positive messaging to explain the values of STEM careers in a way that's attractive to our students and equitable for all kinds of students. So for example, STEM professionals are generally our own worst enemy. I just came from our big national conference for engineering education, and we constantly are talking about how we as engineers and scientists and mathematicians and technologists perpetuate really negative stereotypes about ourselves, most often unintentionally. But there's been a study that we're going to talk about here briefly that gives us the positive messaging that we need to use to attract students to STEM. The next thing that's really important is that we learn to talk about STEM in a way that appeals to the work values of our students. We can't assume that all students want to go and make lots of money, but we can learn to talk about STEM in a way that's attractive to the different work values that students have. And those values change over time, and we'll talk about those briefly. And the third thing that's really important is that we change our perspective of the pathways that are available to students for STEM. Historically, we've always considered that STEM equals a four-year degree, that STEM equals something that's only available to the elite students. And the opportunities that are available in STEM are incredibly diverse, and there are multiple pathways and opportunities available in STEM careers. And the activities that we've created in this toolkit that we're going to just touch on exploring today really help open up the opportunities and doors for students of all different levels. And so these are the three things that I want you to take away from today, that we want to transition the way we talk about STEM to using positive messages, addressing the work values of our students, and the breadth of opportunities and pathways available to students in STEM careers. So the National Academy of Engineering, just a couple of years ago, came out with a list of grand challenges for the 21st century. Now, to come up with this list, they literally gathered the most brilliant minds in the world, STEM professionals, across all different kinds of disciplines, and they wanted to create a list, and they came up with 14 different things. And there's nothing magical about 14. It's just these are the 14 challenges that they set forth for us as STEM professionals for the 21st century, and things that they felt like that we could accomplish in this time period as well. And some of those things include making solar energy more economical, providing access to clean water, restoring and improving our urban infrastructure, advancing health informatics, engineering better medicines, preventing nuclear terror, securing cyberspace. I don't know about many of you, but I know several of my friends and family got emails from Target over the holidays saying that their information had been compromised. Through Adobe, they've their systems were compromised and our credit cards were stolen. And so these are serious issues that we're all facing, particularly with identity theft and things of that nature. Some other grand challenges for the 21st century include advanced personalized learning and engineering the tools of scientific discovery. Now, there's a link there at the bottom that I encourage you to write down and go explore when you have time. And the link is engineeringchallenges.org. And on that website, there's a great about 7-minute video. I think it's maybe 6 3/4 minutes, but it's a video that describes these 14 grand challenges. And it's a pretty upbeat video. It's something that would be really useful for you to show your students and help them to understand the why. So often when we talk about STEM careers, we talk about how to get to a STEM career rather than why the STEM careers are so important. And that's what this picture is trying to say. It's trying to help us understand that there are challenges in our world that STEM professionals need to solve, and that there are opportunities to really connect the big why. Like, why is this important? Why do I need to learn this science in high school? Why do I need to learn this in my community college or undergrad? These are the problems that STEM professionals are going to need to solve and get to solve. And so by helping your students connect to these grand challenges for the 21st century, you're enabling them to have increased motivation and understanding of the application of their education and draw them into STEM in a new and exciting way. So I challenge you to go and to look at the engineering challenges on engineeringchallenges.org, and you think about how you can use these different challenges to either integrate them into the classrooms on your campus, or to help the students create some sort of real-life application or problem to solve around these, and to basically get excited about STEM and what that means for them and for the future. So I want to do just a really quick overview of the demand for STEM careers. So the first thing that we show is that science and engineering, that's what the S&E stands for, science and engineering workforce has grown at 5 times the rate of the general workforce since 1950. And even over the last decade, when we've been in a period of economic decline, science and engineering still grew at a significantly greater rate than the rest of the workforce. So basically what this is showing is that over the course of time, science and engineering has grown at 5 times the rate of the general workforce, and it's going to continue to see that sort of growth. The second thing that's really important is that many science and engineering workers are reaching traditional retirement age. So if we look at the number in 2006, over a quarter were older than 50. And so what this means is that we have a large sum of science and engineering workers who are about to retire. But if we think about this in the pipeline metaphor that's so common, there literally are not enough students in the pipeline. There aren't enough practicing STEM professionals to meet the demand that's going to happen when this large section of the science and engineering workforce retires. So there's a little bit of a vacuum here that we need to address. If we look at the growth of STEM careers, 7 out of 10 of the fastest growing occupations requiring at least a 2-year degree are in STEM fields. And this changes every year, but it's usually around 70 to 75% of the fastest growing occupations. 2-year degrees are really important, and this is where I'm talking about the changing our perspectives of the different pathways and opportunities in STEM careers, is that half of all STEM jobs are available to workers without a 4-year college degree. So I just want you to read that and repeat to yourself. Half of all STEM jobs are available to workers without a 4-year college degree. When I first learned about this, it completely challenged my perception of what STEM was. When we go to the activities that you have here and that you'll have an opportunity to do in your own time, is to explore all of the different opportunities available to students just with a 2-year degree, and many of which with apprenticeship or certification programs as well. The final thing is that STEM knowledge is incredibly important. So when we look at the number of jobs available, so we'll say in 2011 there were 26 million US jobs available. 20% of all of those jobs require a high level of knowledge in any one STEM field. So that's not saying that there are 26 million STEM jobs. It's saying that that 1/5 of all the jobs available require a high level of knowledge in any STEM field. So you need to be able to function in a STEM capacity. You need to be technologically literate. So these are really important skills. And so it's important that we change the perception of what STEM careers are so that we don't scare students away from the science and math that's going to help them in their career, even if it is not specifically a STEM discipline. So as I've mentioned a couple of times, there are multiple pathways to and opportunities to STEM careers. And these begin with certificate programs that I know that the institutions in Georgia have with a technical college. You have opportunities to get certificates there, associate's degree as well, bachelor's, master's, and of course doctorate. But when we look at the pay scales for some of these, they're not even as you would somewhat expect. And in many cases, students with 2-year degrees in STEM disciplines are making as much money as students with bachelor's degrees. And so, again, one of the activities that we've designed allows you to kind of see this in a matrix format. And again, our goal is not to discourage all students from getting bachelor's, master's, or PhDs, but the idea is to open up STEM to students who wouldn't normally consider it, because there are more opportunities for students to get 2-year degrees and certificate programs, but yet still have careers in high demand, high wage jobs that really challenge our perspective of what that's been in the past. In addition, an education in STEM enables many career options and opportunities. I know for myself, this has been something that has been kind of a remarkable experience. I tend to think of my education in STEM as a launching pad. So my bachelor's is in computer science, my master's is in electrical engineering, and my PhD is in engineering education. So I have 3 different STEM degrees, and each of them taught me different things. And what I'm doing now is in no way what I really sought out to do when I was 18. But it's enabled me an incredible career and pathway that has been really meaningful to me. And I think that when we talk to our students, we need to help them see that there are lots of different opportunities and options with these degrees. So even if a person has a STEM degree, they may not be continue in a pathway that is so I'm not practicing as an engineer anymore, but the skills that I learned transfer and have helped me to run a consulting business, that have helped me to create really efficient and effective programs for educators. And so those skills are highly transferable. And so that's what we want to talk to students about when they're choosing a career plan, is that so often they think that, oh, I just want to study business. And there's nothing wrong with studying business, but by getting a degree in STEM, that can enable them more opportunities. So for example, Texas Instruments, and they only hire engineers to be their technical marketing and sales force. And the reason is because the technical marketing and sales have to market and sell to other engineers. They have to know the product. They have to be able to communicate and talk about the product. But that attracts a different kind of person. Sometimes the more gregarious people are drawn to that. Sometimes the people who like the creative design aspects outside of general engineering design are drawn to that kind of avenue. And that might be a great opportunity for some of your students. When we look at business leadership, 1 in 5 Fortune 500 CEOs has a degree in engineering. It's the most common degree among Fortune 500 CEOs. There are opportunities to go on to patent law. So if you get a degree in biomedical engineering or physics, then you can go on to get a law degree, and that's in one of the most highest paying forms of law that there is. But you have to be able to know the technology to argue against the different patent issues and concerns. There are opportunities to be educators. We know that there's a dearth of science, math, and technology and engineering educators available. And so by getting a degree in that, they could go back and teach at a K-12 level or certainly at a higher ed as well. So when we talk about STEM, it doesn't just mean the same career that you're going to have for a lifetime. It enables lots of different opportunities, and I like to consider it as a launching pad to many different options and opportunities. So these are the three key messages that the National Academy of Engineering, the same group that came out with the grand challenges for the 21st century. So what essentially happened is the National Academy of Engineering commissioned a market analysis. They said, you know what, people don't really understand what engineers are and what engineers do. So let's do a market study and let's create the messages that are most positive and most effective for talking about engineering. And so these are the three messages that they came up with, but I've taken the liberty to expanding them to STEM professionals and STEM careers in general. And the three key messages that are the most effective at getting students excited about STEM careers are: one, STEM professionals make a world of difference and help shape the future. The second is that STEM careers are essential to our health, happiness, and safety. And the third is that STEM professionals are creative and collaborative problem solvers. So when we use these three messages, these are the ways to get students excited about STEM careers. And you'll notice in the toolkit that everything is framed around these three messages, that we're trying to perpetuate the idea that STEM professionals make a world of difference, shape the future, and we're trying to push the boundaries of what we've traditionally considered STEM professionals and the people who participate in STEM. These messages are also most effective for encouraging young women to pursue these careers. We know that young women generally pursue careers in the health and biology sciences, and they're drawn to these because of the aspects of helping others. But when we change the image of STEM careers as a whole and help them to understand that by becoming a computer scientist or by becoming an engineering, that you're contributing to the health, happiness, and safety of our world, that you're making a difference, this is going to start changing the image of STEM careers, so the young women who are drawn to that will then be drawn to engineering and STEM careers. Another thing that's really important is that we talk about how STEM professionals are creative and collaborative problem solvers. For so long, there's been a great divide in the people who traditionally pursue STEM and those who don't. That the creative students say, oh, you know, I need to pursue something in the arts, when they don't see that there's an incredible opportunity within STEM to be creative and to use that design to come up with really innovative and creative solutions. Think about the iPhone. Think about the creativity and innovation that's required for that. We need the creative people to help us solve those problems. So these are the three key messages that we want you to start using when you talk to students about careers in STEM. We want to move away from, oh, you're good at math and science, therefore you should do this. I'm not saying that you don't have to be able to take math and science. That's certainly required for many STEM careers and STEM degrees. But we want to start getting students hooked on the why. You know, when we look at the College Board just a few years ago, on their website, they said, it was on the engineering page, learning about engineering careers. And this was their recruiting strategy. Do you like to work really long hours in a lab? Do you like to work really challenging calculus problems? It was something to this effect. Now, there is a certain population of people who that is very attracted to, but for the most of us, that's not the most effective marketing strategy. And so when we move from the how to get there to the why, then we're going to be able to increase students' interest and awareness in these careers. So again, by using these messages, we appeal to the interest of students, and it begins to address some of their work values as well. So one of the activities that we have in the toolkit is called the Health, Happiness, and Safety activity. And we're not going to go through that, but I just want you to see what we have there is, and there's a lesson plan again that's associated with these two worksheets. And how it's designed is that you introduce the idea that STEM careers are essential to our health, happiness, and safety. And then there's a matrix of different careers and little descriptions of what someone might do in those careers. And the students are challenged to consider how each example contributes to our health, happiness, and safety. There's no right or wrong answer because many of these could be applicable to all of them. So for example, the first one is an audiologist. And the description is that they screen newborns for hearing loss and refer affected patients to appropriate services. So we can think about that's certainly affecting the health of this newborn child. It's affecting the happiness because it's certainly their quality of life. And it also is their safety by allowing them to get the help that they need. It's allowing them to live a safer life by having their hearing issues addressed. And then on the right, you see that there's another activity that takes them to an online resource using science buddies, and we're going to talk about that just briefly in a minute. So that's one activity that you can do to help your students learn about how STEM careers are essential to our health, happiness, and safety. Okay, now I want to move to work values. And so what I want to do is I want to do another quick poll of all the reasons why people may choose a career path. So let's go back to the poll here. All right, so I've got a poll open here, and I'd like you to contribute. Give me some examples. List all of the reasons why people may choose a career path. We've got money, passion, family history, location, enjoyment, job satisfaction, prestige, challenge. Okay, passion for the job. So they will be happy with their years in the workplace, challenge. Okay, opportunities, job stability, education opportunities, to help others. Okay. All right, well, thank you for your contributions. I'm going to end this poll. So I see some themes here. I see that we want to help others. There's money, enjoyment. There's money again here, personal fulfillment, so just kind of interest. The interest here in skill. We've got job stability, education opportunities, the challenge of it. So what you've identified here is you've identified different values that people have and as they choose their career. And the research tells us that there are primarily 4 key values that people have in choosing their career. The first key work value, and these are in no particular order, is an intrinsic value. It's that you're interested in the work, that you want some autonomy in your work. You want to have some kind of independence and leadership over your project. And you all addressed some of this in your feedback there. But what's interesting here is that the younger generations are increasingly opting towards careers based on intrinsic values. So historically, this was not the case, but over time, what I'm saying is that the data is showing that students are choosing careers that they are more interested in rather than some of the other values. So there's been a decrease in the next 2 values that we'll talk about.
Megan, can you
then career?
Can you close that poll down? Thank you.
Okay. Okay. So intrinsic value. So when we think about interest, when we want to appeal to the intrinsic values of our students, we want to be able to appeal to their interest. And so we've talked about the grand challenges for the 21st century. We talked about the positive messaging for STEM careers. That's how we're going to appeal to the intrinsic values of our students, is using those ways to address their personal interest and their motivation. The next key work value is extrinsic. So you address this in your topics, making money, the job security. If you look at all of the jobs directly using STEM skills, those includes health and medicine, STEM jobs represent 70% of the highest 150 paying jobs in the U.S. So that's a lot of money that's going towards people who are contributing towards STEM disciplines. And when we talk about job security, we've already addressed that there is significant demand for STEM professionals. So their jobs are in demand, so it means that they'll be able to get a job and based on their skill set. and that they'll be able to make really good money. And there are certainly resources where you can go if it's really important that you talk to your students about how much STEM professionals can make. There are resources that we'll talk about that you can find that information as well. The next key work value is prestige values, and that talks about being in a respected occupation. And I already mentioned that the most common undergraduate degree among Fortune 500 CEOs is in engineering, that 1 in 5 CEOs have an engineering degree. And then when you look at the prestige scales, there are certain reports that come out every few years on the general prestige factor of careers in the US, and STEM professionals consistently dominate the ranks of those careers. The 4th key work value is social values. That's the idea of working with people and contributing to society. And it's not surprising that young women typically fall in this quadrant. Young men typically fall in the more intrinsic, extrinsic values. And it doesn't mean that young women can't have other values as well, but as it's statistically significant that they are drawn towards more social values. And we've already talked about how STEM professionals are creative and collaborative, and that STEM professionals make a world of difference and help shape our future. So by using those messages, we can appeal to the social values of our students. So I want to do a really quick exercise here. It looks like we're not going to be able to see that. So I'm going to have a couple of examples where you can engage. So you'll see in the white box in the bottom will pop up a phrase from one of the students. And what I want you to do is to vote on which 2 work values it is. Okay, so the question is, or the statement is, I want to earn lots of money and drive a fancy sports car. I'd like to be my own boss too. Okay, so I need to go back to, so remember that, I want to earn lots of money and drive a fancy sports car. I'd like to, oh, I think I just gave you the answer. I want to earn lots of money and drive a fancy sports car. I'd like to be my own boss too. So I want you to identify which 2 work values they are, and then we're going to come back and vote really quickly. Okay, can you vote here? The statement was, I want to earn lots of money and drive a fancy sports car. I'd like to be my own boss too. So which 2 work values do you think that is? I want to make lots of money and drive a fancy sports car, and I want to be my own boss too. Okay, so the answer is intrinsic and extrinsic. So it's the 3rd one here, intrinsic and extrinsic. So we'll see that I want to earn lots of money, so it's talking about the extrinsic value there, and be my own boss. That's talking about the autonomy that you'll recall. Okay, so let's see. This question here is, it is important that I love my work and that the work I do will make a difference in the world. It is important that I love my work and the work I do will make a difference in the world. Okay, so let's come back here. Now I'm going to reopen this. It's important that I love my work and that my work make a difference. Okay, the answer to this one is intrinsic and social. It's important that I love my work and that the work I do will make a difference in the world. All right, I've got a few more. We're just going to click through these. So the next one is, I want to work with others to solve important problems for our world, and I'd also like for people to respect me for my contributions. So the key values here are social and prestige. I want to work with others, and I want people to respect me. I want a job that allows me to have a better social status, and I want a good paying job so that I can buy the things that I want. Those values are extrinsic and prestige. I'd like to work independently at times to solve a bigger piece of a puzzle. Again, that's the autonomy. That way, people will be able to recognize and value my hard work, and that's the prestige. It's important that I have a career where I will always be able to find employment. I want that security so I can support a family someday. But I want to do work that really changes the world. So this is extrinsic and social values. So you have an activity in the toolkit that's a little fill-in-the-blank bubble activity, and it's, let's go back here. Okay, all right, we were good. Thank you for that. The activity here is a really simple activity, and it helps them to relate the same language that we just went through with that last exercise with STEM careers. So for example, they talk about STEM professionals are creative problem solvers. I want to do work that is really interesting to me. I want to work independently at times to solve a bigger piece of the puzzle. So it can help your students really relate their own thoughts to their work values, and then it links it to STEM careers. So that's the work values activity that's in the toolkit that you can use with your students. The next activity that's a part of the toolkit is there's 3 worksheets to it, or 3 pages to it, and it's called the STEM Career Scavenger Hunt. And the first page in this draws our attention to the resources. And so there are 2 resources that you have access to use for these activities. And you can use, some different states have their own programs that they can use. We recommend these 2 because they are generally aligned with the same messaging that we're talking about, particularly the science buddies. And so if you go to Bureau of Labor Statistics, so bls.gov/OOH, or Science Buddies, and if you follow the instructions on this, it can help you navigate those websites. So these are the 2 resources that you'll use for this next activity that I'm just going to highlight. So the STEM Career Matrix, what you see is that there is an opportunity for students to explore some different careers, but through the idea that there are different pathways. So there's an example there. The first column says, which STEM occupation or career is new and interesting to me? How much could I earn in this job, and what is the outlook? How can I summarize the job that I might do in this career occupation? And what would I need to do if I wanted to pursue this occupation or career? What would I study in college? How could I prepare now? And so by having your students use those 2 previous resources, the Occupational Outlook Handbook or the Science Buddies website, they go through and identify, okay, what's a trade or degree, what is a career that only requires a trade or certificate? What is a degree that only requires an associate's, bachelor's, or graduate program? And it helps them to kind of see the different pathways and opportunities available to them. The second part of this activity is just a scavenger hunt that you'll see there. And it just challenges them to further explore 15 different STEM careers or occupations that they didn't already explore with the STEM Career Matrix. So it gets them familiar with using these 2 different resources. And these resources are really fantastic, and they include lots of different information on different courses that students need to take. What's a day in a life like? What's the earning potential? What is the outlook? What are other skills that they need to learn? Talking about, being able to solve problems, think critically. So it takes some of the impetus away specifically from coursework and draws it on a skill set as well. But what's really great about Science Buddies is there are different videos that are also included, or interviews with people, STEM professionals, that they can read and connect with as well. So that's the STEM Career Matrix activity that you have in the toolkit. I want to take just a quick moment, and I want to go over to look at these 2 websites. So you should still be able to see my screen. So this is sciencebuddies.org. And when you go here, you're going to go to the green tab, Science Careers. And then you'll see there's different gray tabs below here: Earth and Physical Sciences, Life Sciences, Engineering, Math, Computer Science, and Health. And so say I am a student and I come here and I'm looking at this list. Well, look, it looks like a climate change analyst that's in demand. I can see here. So let's see what that is. So I go to this page and it talks about, here are 4 different kinds of things I could do as a climate change analyst. I could use existing climate data to create mathematical models. I could help avoid famines by projecting how climate change will affect worldwide farming and distribution. And you'll notice that the way they've created this helps to connect to some of the changing the conversation messages that we talked about earlier. You know, here's helping avoid famines. That's making a difference in the world, right? And so there's different tabs here: key facts and information, an overview, key requirements, minimum degree, subjects to study in high school. There's median salary, and it compares it with a median U.S. annual wage. It projects the job growth. Here you can see that there are interviews with people who are climate change people. So you can click here and meet Inez. So there are different opportunities to connect with these kinds of people. And then education, it talks about what training and qualifications, what is it like on the job, what's the nature of the work. Here's another video about that students can see and learn. And then there are project ideas that you can do if you're wanting to integrate that in the classroom. So I wanted to show you the Science Buddies. Again, go to sciencebuddies.org, click on the green tab, and you see the different careers in STEM tabs there that you can learn. Now I want to show you the other is the Bureau of Labor Statistics Occupational Outlook Handbook. Now, not all of these occupation groups are STEM disciplines, but on the worksheet that is a part of the toolkit, it helps you identify which ones we identify as STEM. So I'll click here, Computer and Information Technology. And here are different occupations that were within this occupational group. You can sort by entry-level education. So you can see here that web developers can entry-level with an associate's degree. The median pay is $62,000. Or a computer network architect. You can, again, sort it the other way. A doctoral degree might be required for a computer research scientist. You can sort by median salary. So there are lots of great ways to sort in the Occupational Outlook Handbook. So I encourage you to use that. And you can even, what's really interesting here is if we go to this select occupations by, so say that you wanted to do just a general search for some of your students. Let's just do 2012 median pay, entry-level education. We'll search here. So this is searching the entire database. So this is not just STEM careers. But what we can see here is if I come to this table, this is all the careers. If I sorted by median pay, go the other way, we can look and identify that many of the top paying jobs, and let's go to an associate's degree. So here are associate's degree with sorted by the median pay. So air traffic controllers, that is considered a STEM discipline. They make $75,000 or more. There's not a lot of growth rate right now, but radiation therapists, that's also considered a STEM discipline. So again, just explore these different filtering tools to help you learn about all the different disciplines. So if you do, let's click on computer network specialist. Again, it's a similar information to what the Science Buddies has, but it might be different for the different age group students that you have, and it might be more relevant to them. So I wanted to draw your attention to those tools. All right, let's go back to the presentation here. I want to draw your attention to the Kudos cards, and so these are a part of the kit as well. And we have 5 different cards, and they're grounded in research. And as simple as the cards may seem, that they are designed to help you connect STEM to the values of your students. So the first one says you're curious and love to learn. And the idea here is that, and these are postcard size, and so the idea is that you identify something in a student, you write them a note, so here's how I know. And then a lot of teachers are and educators are getting really creative with this. So you can either put a postcard stamp and mail it home, which means it's going to end up on the fridge. You can do some kind of activity on your campus where you create a bulletin board based on these. But there's 5 different ones, and it is again relating the positive messaging to different values that we want to attract students to. You learn from your mistakes. It talks about how failure is really imperative in STEM disciplines. You are generous in helping others. It talks about how STEM careers help others, and you are an excellent collaborator. Again, it talks about the positive messaging, and then you are super creative. So you have these at your that are accessible, and then you've got the cute little desktop stand where you can put all the different cards in as well. So just as a recap, there were 3 key things that we wanted to draw your attention to through the use of this toolkit. That it's really imperative that we start using the most positive and effective messaging to attract students to STEM careers. We've got to move away from the idea that you have to be an ace at math and science, that it's only for those that are in the calculus trajectory or AP physics trajectory, and there are lots of opportunities for STEM. We want to appeal to student work values, so we can learn to talk about STEM in a way that addresses the values that our students might have, understanding that these values change over time. So if you have a student who's living in poverty, their key work value at that time might simply be, I need to get a job that's going to get me money to get out of whatever environment they are in. But to have a sustainable work career, we want to appeal to their other work values. So they may want to change the world too, and so we need to make sure that they see that. We can't just talk about how much money STEM professionals make, because that may not ultimately be the most rewarding factor for our students. And again, advising a diverse group of students to all the pathways of STEM careers is really important. Just to wrap up here, the super strategies that you can take with you is that you can conduct the STEM careers activities. You have 4 within this toolkit. You have the Kudos Cards. And the third thing that we really encourage you to do in tandem with this toolkit is to expose students to diverse STEM professionals through posters, books, and websites. Invite guest speakers to talk to your classes for people who look like your students, so a similar demographic, and then pairing students with mentors from the workforce. Just as a reminder about the toolkit that you have, you've got the STEM Careers tool, the booklet that reviews a lot of the things that we've just briefly talked about today. You've got the 4 lesson plans and activities. You have the Kudos Cards and the web resources. We also have a longer version of this workshop that's generally 3 to 4 hours, where we actually do the activities with you so that you feel more prepared to do that. I wanted to take this last few minutes to ask you, how can you use this toolkit? And what's really important that you also understand is that there are so many opportunities and options available within your state of Georgia. You've got the dual credit programs, the dual enrollment, the career academies. So there are lots of opportunities for you to partner with the technical college system in a way to use these tools. But I want to ask you, how will you use this toolkit? Will you have a career day? Will you have a college week? Will you use an after-school program? I'm going to do a quick poll as we kind of wrap up this last few minutes, and then if you have questions, Fred, are there any questions that have been posed that I need to address?
No, there are no questions that have been posed. Okay. I do have something to do with you when you finish, though, with the group. Okay. And thank you.
So it looks like we've got a few different options. So career day clubs, organizations, career day, that's a common theme, classroom presentations, high school coordinator, so you want to give it to your counselors. This applies more to high school, middle school counselors. You know, if you, I'm not sure who said this question here, but if you're speaking more from a community college standpoint, I do encourage you to really explore the same ideas that we've talked about, but using the Bureau of Labor Statistics Occupational Outlook Handbook. This is still a really valid tool and tool set to talk to students, even non-traditional students, about STEM career pathways. Latoya, did you have a question for us? I've enabled your microphone if you want to. Okay. So Francine Schumann, she should be able to answer that. Or you can go to NAPE Equity napeequity.org/counselors, and you can order the toolkit there. So again, you can order the toolkit from napeequity.org/counselors, or go and talk to your area coordinators.
And Megan, Francine was not able to get on. There were some technical problems, so she cannot answer the question because she's not on for that reason.
So again, you can go to, there's the link there, NAPE Equity, napeequity.org/counselors, to get the toolkit and order it. If there are any more questions, I'd ask you guys, when you say order, does that imply a cost? Shauna, yes, it is something that you have to order, but I want you to encourage you to talk to your, there, Ms. Jones answered your question. She says that if you don't have it, your VPSA should have it. So.
And I would also, this is Freda Walker, I'd also say that once you check with in your own area in Georgia about how you get that, but just know also you could use Carl Perkins funding to buy those kinds of supplies for your school.
Perfect. Thank you, Freda. All right, well, we've come to the end of our time. We really appreciate and value your feedback. So I've posted up a little pod here, and there's a link at the bottom right in the notes. So a survey for today's webinar, you can go to the link in the bottom right or copy and paste the link in this box here in the center. It's just a few questions.
Megan?
And it helps. Yes, ma'am.
I was going to say, before you go to that, I'm sorry, this is Freda again, but Francine has requested that we actually take an accounting of who's on the webinar, because a variety of people were not able to get on because their firewalls kept them from getting on, which is what happened to Francine. And so I have gone along and everyone who's listed on the right-hand side under attendees, I have indicated that I have made sure that we know who those people are, but if there's someone else watching with you, I need to, I need that to be typed into the chat function so that I can record this. I know that one person has indicated, I think, that there are 2 people watching. Yes, Carrie and Jeff are watching together and they both put their names in, but if there's someone else watching with you, I need to have that name so that I can record that you were in attendance for Francine. Okay, so great. This is, I need to have those names because I have a list of a lot of people, but I don't have them, showing up.
All right, everyone, thank you so much for adding those names.
Yeah, I can see that other people are still typing, so.
All right, well, as you all continue to type in the names of your colleagues who are watching and sharing the screen with you, I just want to thank you so much for your time. We appreciate the contribution that you have with the future of our students. And STEM careers really are exciting opportunities, and we want to change the pathways and opportunities that are available to all kinds of students. And so that means that we've got to help them become aware of those careers so that they can make an educated decision and choice in their career pathway. And we hope that this toolkit will be one way to help you do that. We like to hear from you after you use the toolkit. So I put my contact info here on the window as well. And I would love if you'll contact me and let me know in what way that you use the toolkit. If you find that it doesn't work for you, let me know that so that we can begin to incorporate that feedback into our next revision. Or if we need to create a toolkit to specifically meet the needs of another selection of students. So again, thank you so much for your feedback. Again, if you'll take just a few moments to click the link to do the evaluation survey, we would really appreciate that as well. So if there's one more question, will you be emailing this PowerPoint to everyone? We will post it, I think, Freda, on the NAPE's website.
Normally we post it on the STEM Equity Pipeline, where we will actually have this this webinar, the presentation will be recorded, and you can find it on that website. And I'll type that in, or we can type that in at the bottom. Anyway, so yes, that's a way that they can go look at it, and also they can get the PowerPoint, and that way Greg can post it for you. And I need Helen to tell me her last name. I put that in there. I don't. It did. And we can all go back if we need to the other. So Helen, are you still on? Yes, please.